Hey everybody, thank you for joining me today. So today's video, we're going to be working on a challenge from my little scrapbook store. We had a crop in at the end of September, beginning of October, and this challenge number 2 sketch is what we're going to be working on today. So the first thing I did was I decided that I'm going to change the direction. So of course, we're gonna do the splatters, but my photo is vertical, so I'm turning it on its side. I'm gonna do a little something with this stamp and embossing, and we're gonna use these 3 pattern papers for our tags, and then everything is gonna be on a white base. So I'm gonna bring over my cutter, my trimmer here, and we're gonna take, this is basil marshmallow paper. We're going to go ahead and trim that to 12 inches. And then we're going to grab the 3 sheets. Now, these are from, I had the Happy Scrappy bag from, it was a Simple Stories collection. And it's called Vintage October 31st. And so it came with a solids pack. And I don't know, I'm really digging the orange this season. I'm really into it. So I knew I wanted to use some of the solids for this, for our little flags that we're going to create. So I did mine 3 inches for the widest. The next one, I did 2.5, and then the one after that, I did 1.5, I believe. So now I am just taking my papers and I'm going to trim them down. So this first one, I'm making 7 inches. The orange, I'm going to cut down to like 6 inches. And then the black and orange stripe, we're going to cut down to like 5. So I'm just taking an inch off of each one. So that way when we do the banners, it'll be a nice size all together, just like in the upper left-hand corner. So I always just cut down the middle as I can find it, and then go from the 2 ends, and that creates the banner for me. I know some people fold it in half and just cut once. You can do whichever way you want. Some use a square punch, like a hand punch, to cut the V's into their pattern paper. You just got to do it, whichever way works for you. If you have dies that'll do it, use the dies. Now, initially, this is what I'm thinking. I was, where the pumpkins are on the sketch, that's why I have that big circle image. And then we're going to have the banners, just like in the sketch. But I know I want to use this web stamp like kind of behind the photo, right? So what I'm gonna do, I move these down a little bit, and I think that will give me a nice amount of space. I can do my little web and still have it peek out. So to prep the paper, I'm just gonna take my powder and really hit the section where I want to put this stamp. Now, this is what I would suggest. I do have a 12 by 12 Misty, but ask me if I can get to my 12 by 12 Misty. At the moment, I can't. So I decided to just ink it up with the Versamark and place it down, and then kind of press with my, I think it was Picket Fence or Pink Fresh stamp press to try and get the image down. And at first, I was thinking, you know what? I don't think I stamped that really well. But as soon as I start putting the embossing powder, I started to see where the image was, and it comes out just really, I couldn't have planned it any better. Now, I'm not panicking because on those little spots where there's more powder, I'm just going to use a brush to clear the areas that I don't want embossing powder to be at. And if I hit a little spot, it's okay. Because, not every web is perfect. That's what I tell myself anyway. So now I'm grabbing my heat tool And we're going to warm it up. And then what I like to do is, as it's warming up, if it's taking a little bit for the front, I'll hit it from behind and let the tool itself heat up, get nice and hot, and then I can put it right to the image. Now this is a nice thin line, so it does take a little while for all of it to melt, but the reason why I have the paper tilted is while I'm doing it, I can see which areas are dull and then which areas are, turned shiny from being heat embossed. And then when I'm all done, I hit it from the back again to help with some of the warping. So there's our web looking all cute. And then we're going to put this and then our photo. Well, at some point, I realized I think I want to do it differently. I think I want the banners to come from the circle. So like if you looked at it the other way, it almost looks like like one of those ribbons from the fair. I really like how that was looking. So I decided, let me do one more web, okay? Now this web I am going to do off camera, and when we come back it'll already be complete and we'll start putting it together because I didn't want you guys to have to sit through me doing. Okay, so now I know that was a weird cut, but I already have that web down at the bottom, and now we're going to put the bottom part together. I took the 6x8 paper pad of the same collection, and I'm going to use one of the pages as a mat for the photo. And then the square up in the top right now, I got that from one of the cut aparts. But you're going to wind up seeing what we're going to do with that in a little bit too. Okay, so we're going ahead and figure out where we're going to place this. And then I was tempted to raise this, but I decided instead just to put some tape down and to hit it with the glue, which I always do for most of the projects. You'll always see me use the tape and glue. And especially when something's going on top of heat embossing or any type of texture, you want the wet glue so that way you get the adhesion, because regular tape is not going to do it when it comes to textures and stuff. So right now I'm cutting my paper to 6x4, but I think on the 4 side I go a little bit longer, so it's like 4 1/8 for our mats. And then I'm thinking that this is how I'm gonna put it as far as the square and the little cats. I think they're super cute, but it's gonna change, so bear with me. You're gonna see here in a second. Once we get the photo matted, I think I'm gonna grab the foam, my big roll of foam, and we're gonna go ahead and get this lifted up. I always like, if I'm not gonna lift up some of the elements, I always like lifting up the photo, so it helps it to pop, And I'm using my big Tim Holtz shears to cut through this foam. And you're going to see we're going to be doing a couple of different cuts and stuff, but it works. It's still nice and even when you place the photo down. But I'm just building up my, my foam on the back. And then I'm going to cut one more piece to put in that open area, so that way it doesn't like sag or do anything weird. And then we'll trim that last little bit, and then the photo will be good to go. And so on this, because the square was so big, I was like, you know what, let me trim this down. And then once I put it kind of underneath the photo, I realized I don't like how close it is to the far right edge. So I'm going to wind up changing that. But first, we're going to pick the sentiment. So I chose So Wicked for the title, because I like how it's big. These are the foam titles that Simple Stories does. And I really like how they're all one word And if you don't press down, you can lay it and it'll fit. You can bring it back up and then use your, glue to put it back down. So about here is where I'm deciding, you know what, I'm going to put the little cats on the photo. And then I'm going to put the So Wicked. And then I may even do something different with the square, because I'm like, I like it because it's saying something about the pumpkins. And I know this photo is from, I think, a Harry Potter exhibit. I borrowed this photo from Jessica, one of the design team members on my little scrapbook store. And I just feel like, it's too perfect. He's standing in a pumpkin field. Like, when am I going to get to use this paperwork, this paper collection? I don't even have like Halloween photos for myself. So I was like, you know what? Let's do this. So right now I'm off camera. I'm trimming the other side of that cut apart. Okay. And then I'm going to turn it into a flag as well, a little banner. And we're going to put it in the upper right hand corner. I love this. And what that's doing is it's sort of like an homage to the sketch, right? It's just on the opposite side. And then instead of having 3, I'm only going to do 2 pieces. So a little bit of that stripe, and it helps that orange kind of stand out. And I think it ties in, with the flags or the banners we have with the main circle piece down here at the bottom, which is part of the chipboard elements from this collection. And now we're going to just lay down our photo. And then I'm lifting up and putting some foam underneath the word So Wicked. And then I have on my fingertips 3 hearts that I'm going to put around once I have everything kind of glued down. So now I'm just hitting the hearts with a little bit of the wet glue, because the foam is sticky, but I just like the wet glue to kind of secure it a little bit more. And then we're going to go ahead and attach these. And at first I was thinking maybe I would do them a little wonky and then have them like that, but I didn't like how it was looking. Again, probably if I was using the other side, but for this side, I think I need it to be more straight and even. So we're going to put that at the top, leaving a little bit of a border on the one side, and I'm okay with that. And then we're going to put, this is a little bat. It's very tiny and subtle. Okay. And then we're going to cover up, and it's time, you've guessed it, for some splatters, because they're already showing on the sketch. So I was very happy because I was going to splatter anyway. But I'm using my gold. Then I'm going to hit it with the black, which is black soot from the Distress. It's the black soot Distress stain. Okay, I always use that one because I like the vibrancy of the black. They do have it in the oxide spray, but I prefer the stain. And then instead of using the picket fence stain, I'm using, this one is from Heidi Swap, and it's like got a peachy tone, but it's also like a little bit just like a lighter orange tone. So I decided to put that in as my third color since our base is white. So there was no point in really using the picket fence stain. So I'm gonna hold it up close. And there you can see the webs came out great. We have the splatters, and we just changed it up a little bit. But that's the best part about having sketches, is because a lot of times they're a jump off, right? They give you an idea. They spark some creative juices, and the next thing you know, you have a whole layout that is similar, and yet it's of your own too. So thank you guys so much for joining me. I hope you're enjoying the layouts so far. If you have any comments or questions, you can leave them down below. And I will see you guys next week with our next video. And I hope you have a blessed weekend.